You want to get to a point in your business where if somebody leaves or something happens, another person can step in and within a half an hour figure out exactly what needs to be done. That is duplicatable. Okay, so what is the first system that you need to look at? The first system, and this is the lifeblood of all businesses, is the lead generation system. Guys, if you don't have a proper system that generates potential new leads or leads for potential new clients, your business will not grow. You can't just sit back and say, well, I get enough word of mouth referrals to keep myself going. You'll never grow to a large business if you have that attitude. You have to create systems that generate leads on an ongoing basis. You have to be proactive with your lead generation system. Don't just sit back and wait for people to ask for quotes, send out quotes and hope for the best. That is not the way that you build your business. So what's very important when you start looking at your lead generation system is that you are clear on your unique selling proposition or unique benefit proposition that you have for your client. That is so important to understand. What differentiates you from the company next door, the other companies that do what you do. And we very, very seldom have a business that has no competitors whatsoever. You usually go into a market where there are other competitors that do something similar to you. They might not do exactly the same thing, but they're in a similar industry. So you need to be able to differentiate yourself, because if you are not clear on what differentiates you from your competitors, how on earth will your clients or your potential customers be able to differentiate you? And if they have nothing to differentiate you from everybody else, what are they going to use as a differentiation? Price. And the moment you get into that situation where price is the only thing that you can compete at, you then part of a lottery, because you'll win some, you'll lose some, because you don't know what other people are pricing. So you want to get away from just competing on price in your business. You want to create a unique selling proposition and be very clear on how that differentiates you from the rest of the competitors. And guys, please, things like we are always honest is not a unique selling proposition. There's no way the client can gauge whether that is true or not when he makes his selling decision. So you have to be clear. We do things this way, which benefits you in that way, and therefore we are different than everybody else. You need to be clear on that. Sit down when you start your business and take as much time as you need to create a proper, unique selling proposition, to make sure that you know how you are different so that you can tell your clients or give that message through to your clients. And only once you do that, you create a lead generation system. So what you want to do with your lead generation system as well is you need to specifically go and see who your target market is. You need to understand who the market is that you are catering to. A mistake that most people do when they start a small business is they are so desperate to get clients that they will accept anybody. So if you ask a person who's your client, they will go anybody. If people say I will make it work, and that is exactly the opposite of what you actually should be doing when you start your business. For those of you on YouTube, you'll see what I do. I'm going to try and explain it for the people who are just listening. But what most people do is they have this view of their market. They will accept everybody. And as they get more and more successful, they want to tighten that view of theirs to only a small niche in the market. So eventually, I just want to work with high net worth individuals, or eventually, I just want to work with individuals that stay in the upmarket areas. But initially, I'll accept everybody. And that is exactly the opposite, because what tends to happen if you don't know exactly who your market is you then can't create a proper marketing message for them, which means you're going to get people that you're going to have to do business with, that you're going to work for less than what you're worth, make almost no profit. They're going to, I don't want to say waste, but they're going to spend your time where you could have spent your time on somebody or a deal or a project that is more lucrative than what you're spending your time on now. So yes, I know in the beginning, and that's why it goes back to don't start a business when you need the money, because if you start a business when you need the money, you are desperate, and then you'll accept any person that comes to you that wants to do business with you. You don't want to be there. You want to start a business for the gain that you can get. Then you want to make sure you understand who your market is. What does your target market look like, and be as specific as possible. And then you want to focus your whole lead generation system on that target market. And as you get better and bigger, you then start expanding your target market. So instead of starting wide and going tighter, you start tight, and then you start expanding your target market going out. Because you build capacity, you're teaching other people. Remember, transformational business. What can I teach other people to do? So as you are teaching other people, you can offer your services to a bigger and bigger target audience instead of trying to accommodate everybody initially. Okay, once you have done that, once you have gotten your unique selling proposition, understanding what is the problem that you're going to solve for the client, once you have defined exactly what your target market is, you then want to create a proper marketing message. So also, once you know what your target market is, you'll get a better idea of where you can speak to your target market. Because what do we get? We get marketing companies these days, and all they want to do is social media marketing, social media marketing, social media marketing. And for some products and services, social media works. But for a lot of products or services, it doesn't work. If you are in the market to sell retirement homes and retirement villages, will Instagram be your ideal marketing platform? Well, probably not. So you need to first understand who your target market is, and then find a way to speak to your target market. Where are these people? Where do they hang out? What do they watch? What do they listen to? Where do they engage with certain products and services? And start focusing your marketing efforts to those places, instead of just having the shotgun approach of, well, social media is the answer for every marketing problem out there. I promise you, and I can attest, it is not the answer to all marketing problems. Okay, so once you know how you're going to talk to your people, who your target market is, you can then start creating your marketing messages to these people, whether that is through flyers, whether it is through social media, whether it's through traditional media. It doesn't matter. You need to create a proper marketing message for your potential customer. This marketing message of yours, you want 4 elements in that marketing message. The first element of your marketing message is to state the problem. So you want to make sure that the customer understands and can relate to that problem. You want the guy to go, I feel like that as well. Or I've experienced that as well. Or I had that pain in my life as well. So you state the problem. Once you have stated the problem, you then explain how your product or service addresses that problem and will solve that problem for your potential customer. And here you want to bring in your unique selling proposition as well. How does your company, your product, your service solve that problem for your potential client? But then the third one comes in, and this is one that a lot of people miss out on. They state what the solution is, and then they have a call to action in missing out on this third part of your marketing message. And this third part is extremely, extremely important, because the third part is about emotion. It's about creating or engaging the client's emotion. Number 2, the how does your product or service address the problem is not emotion, it's logical. It is the logic of this is what we do. The third one is the emotion of what will it mean to you? once we have solved this problem for you. So you see the difference. So you first engage the logic and then you help them make a decision emotionally. Because we as human beings, we make our decisions emotionally and then we defend that decision through logic. So we don't make decisions logically. So if you make your marketing message only focus on logic, people won't make a decision. They will postpone, they will think about it later because their emotions haven't been engaged. The third step engages the emotions, and once the emotions is engaged, then you can ask for a call to action. Okay, so the third one is, what will it mean to your client once you have solved the problem for them? And the fourth step, or the final step of your marketing message, is a call to action. What is it that you want the client to do? And to make that call to action as simple as possible. If you have to make that call to action 3 or 4 steps, it's not going to happen. So the call to action has to be click here, SMS this, WhatsApp that, phone here, something very, very simple that the client can do. The simpler you have it, the higher or the bigger your chance that the client will actually take the necessary action to do the call to action. So, what we're going to talk about the last session is the 2 last systems that you have to create. The second one, so the first one was the lead generation system. So this is the fuel that you have to put into your vehicle. Without that, you can have the greatest business, you can have the greatest vehicle, you can park a Ferrari in your garage, but that car is not going to take you anywhere unless you put the fuel in. So that is where your lead generation, if you don't consistently get leads into your business is dead. It cannot take you anywhere. But also, if you put the wrong fuel in, or you don't know how to use that fuel, then you're not going to go anywhere in any case. So that's called the lead conversion system, and that is basically your engine of your vehicle. Because if you put fuel in the car but there's no engine in the car, that Ferrari is not going anywhere in any case. So the lead conversion is your engine of your vehicle. And you have to have a proper lead conversion system, and you need to have that system worked out so that it is a duplicatable process that you follow. You can't have one way of working with one of your clients and another way with another client and another way with another client. You have to have a duplicatable, predictable system that you do, from taking the client from him contacting you or you getting in contact with a client because he has the potential of becoming a customer of yours, all the way through to him actually placing the business with you, buying from you, or using your services. So that is your lead conversion system that you have to have. You can't just lead conversion system isn't the client sends you a request, you do a quote, send the quote out, and then you sit and wait to see if the client accepts the quote. That is not a lead conversion system. A lead conversion system is you get the request from the client, you communicate with the client, you find out what the client's needs are, what they want to achieve, what their budget is. You go and create a plan for them to solve their problems in the best possible way for the lowest possible cost. Engage with your client, educate your client throughout the process, and then you get him to place the business with you or make use of your service. Now imagine a client goes to one company, and all the company does is they draw up a quote, they email him the quote, and that's it. They just wait. Another company takes the time and the effort to engage with him, understand exactly what he's looking for so that they can supply him with exactly the right product or service for his specific needs, to solve his problems, to make his life more comfortable and easier, and make sure that he does everything right the first time. But they are 10 or 20% more expensive than the other company's quote. Which one of these companies do you think the client is going to do business with? 90% of the time, it's going to be the company that has shown an interest. There's a saying that says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you have a proper lead conversion system, people will feel that you care, they will feel that you have their best interest at heart, and therefore they will place the business even though you are not the cheapest out there. And that is part of building your unique selling proposition. The last system is your client fulfillment system. So your client fulfillment system, if we go back to our analogy of the car, your client fulfillment system is the actual body and the cabin of the car, the kind of wheels you have, the interior, the system you have for your music, etc., etc., your entertainment system. That is the client fulfillment system. How comfortable is this fit once they have actually bought the vehicle? So once you get in the car, you've put fuel in, you've put the engine in, how comfortable is the ride? And that is where you have to keep your client. It is much, much cheaper to keep an existing client and do more business with them than go and find a brand new client. So you have to be sure that whatever you promise, you actually deliver and more. There's a thing that says always under promise and over deliver. If you know something's going to take 48 hours, tell the client it's going to take 72 hours and deliver in 36. Because what's going to happen? Firstly, if you promise the client it's going to be 48 hours, something goes wrong, then you look like an idiot and you break the trust. If you tell the client 72 hours, you deliver at 48, the client is impressed because you've delivered on time. But if you deliver in 36, he's going to be blown away. Guys, it's not difficult to be good, give good client service in South Africa or anywhere else in the world, because client service sucks. By just being your word and doing what the clients, or doing for the client what you promised you're going to do for him, and not make your problems his problem, you're already in the top 1 or 2% of service delivery companies in the country. Just by doing that, just by being your word and doing what you say you're going to do. One of my pet hates is when you get to a company and this guy or this company is supposed to be experts in what they do, and then they don't deliver, and then they make it your fault, or they make it that you have to tell them how they have to go about delivering what you want. Guys, you are the expert. People will follow those who know where they are going. So when you start working with your client, you need to guide them. You need to be in charge of what's going to happen next to get them to the outcome that they are looking for. And that is why it's so important to understand your client. That's why it's so important to engage with your client, not just sell them as quickly as possible and move along, like the All American Reject song that we listened to earlier. It's important that you create a relationship with your client, that they can feel you are really there to do things to their best interest. Guys, that is client fulfillment. If you look at the word fulfillment, it's about just doing what the client was expecting. Most of the unhappiness in life is created because of an expectation that isn't met. And that's where a lot of arguments and a lot of unhappiness comes from. So if you are working on a client's case and you haven't given him a time frame, or you haven't had an agreement with him on when you're going to give feedback, he might think you're going to give him feedback in an hour, and in your mind you're going to give him feedback in two days. Now if you don't give him feedback in an hour, the client gets upset because his expectation wasn't met. His expectation could have been completely irrational or not possible. But because of that expectation, he'll still be upset. But what do clients do? They don't manage. What do companies do? They don't manage the client's expectation. And then when the client has an unrealistic expectation of, I need feedback in 2 hours, then they make it the client's fault. Are you simple? How do you think I must get you this in 2 hours? It takes freaking 2 days just to get the product ordered. Well, the client didn't know that. You need to make sure that it's your responsibility to manage your client's expectation. It's not his responsibility or her responsibility to manage their expectations. You are the expert in your field. You are the person that delivers the service. You need to manage their expectations. You need to lead them to the outcome that they are looking for. Then lastly, to finish off, because we're at 11 o'clock, when you decide to start a business, we tend to get people that overplan and they keep planning. They want to be perfect before they launch. You will never, ever be perfect before you can launch. Never. You have to go ready, fire, aim. Get ready as much as you can, but know that you won't be able to see exactly what needs to be done until you've actually fired. And once you have fired, then you can start aiming. But what happens? We start getting ready, then we aim, and we aim, and we aim, and we aim, and we never fire. We never get going. Rather get going and then adapt as you go along. So ready, fire, aim. And a lot of people say, no, but it must be ready, aim, fire. Just think about when you have to get a gun to be accurate. You don't know how far off that gun is from the bullseye if you don't fire a shot. You can sit there and aim that gun until you're blue in the face. You won't know if it's on target unless you fire the first shot. And only once you fired the first shot can you then start adjusting your aim to hit the bullseye. And that's the same when you start a business. You won't know how far or close to the bullseye you are until you fired your first shot. But I see people sit on an idea, sit on an opportunity for years on end, not doing anything about it because they are planning and we'll get to it. Yeah, there's only a few more things that I have to get in place. Forget about that. Just fire and then start aiming. Because once you start moving in the general direction of your goal, the synchronicity will start kicking in and the opportunities will start guiding you to achieve your goals. Guys, thank you for listening this morning. I really enjoyed our chat about entrepreneurship. Again, if you want to follow us, you're welcome to follow us on Facebook, Retire Happy, Instagram, I Retire Happy, or our YouTube channel, Retire Happy as well.